Well, apparently it's time for the Oscar bait movies to come now that the summer's over and the big blockbusters are through. Because I saw a Steven Soderbergh movie this weekend, and certainly will be one that at least is trying to get some Oscars. I don't know whether it will be successful. And that's what you got to expect during this time of the year, and that's okay because there's a place for these kind of movies. This one was called Contagion, and it's amazing to me as you watch a movie like this. It just simply tells a story. There's no bells and whistles. After all the big bells and whistles of the big blockbusters through the summer, a movie like this just simply tells a story. What would happen if, and in this case the if is if a brand new virus broke out that replicated quickly and was lethal, how would we respond? What would happen? The other amazing part about a movie like this are all the named actors, faces that you know, actors that you know that take roles in movies like this. I mean, there's probably a dozen well-known actors and actresses in this movie, some of which are barely in it. And I guess to give away who's barely in it would be a spoiler, but there are names like Matt Damon, Gwyneth Paltrow, and the other names are slipping my mind right now, but there's a lot of different people in that you just go, oh, it's that guy. Oh, it's her. And it just keeps going like that through the entire movie, just as they kind of come in and out and weave in and out of the story. Now, having said all that, is it a good movie? Well, you can look at it in a couple ways. Number one, the movie making. I think it's a well-made movie. It's very tight. There's very few useless scenes or frames in this movie. It goes from point A to point B in the most efficient way possible, and tells a very expansive story over the course of an hour and 45 minutes. That's pretty impressive, and I think deserves one in the pro column for that. It is a well-told story in that regard. The acting seems very simplistic. Even some of the bigger roles, the more meaty roles, like Jude Law has a more meaty role in this movie, seem to be played, almost underplayed and downplayed. But you know what? I think that adds to the authenticity of what's going on here and makes it feel like this could really happen in our world and what would happen if it did. So I don't know that that's necessarily a negative. The performances are good. Matt Damon is great in this movie, as are many of the other performances that happen as well. Including Jude Law. Other than that, I think there's a lot of great, especially with the score and the sound design is really, really well done. And so I think overall it's a well done movie. Now, what about what it says? The movie itself has some interesting things to say about our humanity and our response to tragedy and trial, and some really honest things to say about how we deal with people we love and the lengths we're willing to go to protect those closest to us. And is that right? Is that moral? And ask some really interesting questions in the light of this outbreak. So I think it explores some really interesting things and has some really thought-provoking things to have us consider and look at throughout the course of the movie. Add all that together, I think it's worth your while. I don't know that it's one you have to see in the theater. You might want to if maybe it's going to be an Oscar contender and you want to know what it's like. But I don't think you have to see it in the theater. Maybe wait till it comes out on demand or on Netflix or on DVD and check it out then. It is worth seeing, at least eventually.